Ayakwe, Nekanau Skip Lowry, Table Meth Nawachek, Squeeza Nina Peck Musnek Talek. Hello, my name is Skip Lowry. I'm happy to be here. I feel pretty good and I'm not sick, so hope everybody out there is doing well and being safe. Still going through trying times and trying to bring our parks to you guys and share some of our awesome interpretations and our beautiful places here. I'm at the Sumeg village, and where I'm going to talk a little bit about a tough subject today. It's genocide from the Yurok lens, a cultural lens perception on what is genocide. What does it look like? What does it taste like? What's it smell like? Is it over? Is it in the past? It's a tough conversation. It's emotional for me. So bear with me. I'm going to just get into really quick. The word genocide was coined in 1944 during World War II by a Raphael Lemkin. He wrote a book about the Nazis, and genocide, it comes from the Greek word genos, meaning race or tribe, and Latin, the side, means killing, the killing of. So you can literally translate genocide as tribe killing or race killing. That's the meaning of the word genocide. Now, the United Nations, this is a quick history, brief touch on the United Nations actually developed the a convention for the punishment and prevention of genocide. And Article 1 states that the crime of genocide may take place in the context of armed conflict, international or non-international governments, but also genocide may take place in the context of a peaceful situation. So there's a misunderstanding that genocide can only happen in war, and that it takes bodily damage and like the act of physically eliminating and killing people. It doesn't all just amount to that. It doesn't just pertain to that. So in Article 2, in the present convention, genocide means any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group as such. I want to get you guys kind of thinking about how they define genocide. There's two elements. There's a mental element and a physical element. So the mental element comes with, you have to have intent. This is how they try to get away with saying we didn't commit genocide, which is inaccurate. They say we didn't intend to hurt your cultures. We didn't intend for that to happen. But that doesn't hold water in court. It doesn't hold water in any other discussion, legal standings, except for when people argue the fact that Native people in California are survivors of a genocide. So here's the physical elements. Article 2 says any killing of members of the group, any killing of the members of the group that happened, bounties on Native Americans. The state of California has in their archives how much money they paid people to go eliminate California Indians. Genocide. B, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group. We're going to talk a little bit about this. We know they physically hurt us, they killed us, they removed us from our lands, and then stole our lands, and a lot of times stole our possessions. The mental harm that is now being understood as intergenerational trauma is real, and it's an act of genocide when you intentionally harm someone mentally. Like, say, you can't be Indian anymore. You have to be Christian now. You have to be a different religion. And you guys are bad. You guys are no good. Lower on the evolutionary scale. Just all the bad stuff that you hear them say about Indians, that causes mental harm, and that is an act of genocide. And it can be in the context of a peaceful situation. Okay, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. Again, they use that word deliberately. Like, oh, we didn't deliberately mean to stop you guys from praying in your most sacred prayer spots by building a road for logging trucks to go clear cut that whole mountain that you guys hold as like your church, your synagogue, your mosque, your place of worship. We didn't mean to hurt you. We didn't deliberately want to hurt your culture by building a road and clear cutting that whole land there. It happened, but it wasn't deliberate. So this is a touchy subject. It really kind of gets me angry that people will try to defend genocide of our people, my family, and the extreme devastation to the environment that we were the original stewards of and in relationship and have the devotion to argue people saying it wasn't deliberate, it wasn't intentful, so it can't be this. That's wrong from my perspective. So imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. Okay. Forced sterilizations happened in California to Native women until the 70s. Okay. Fact. It happened. There's records, documents. Fact check me. That's genocide, right? In the 70s against Native American Californians, indigenous Californians. And forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. Genocide. Separation of families. Boarding schools. You take the kids away, you give them to some church missions people. They learn a different language. They wear different clothes. You basically you actively erase their culture away from them, deny them their existence and their rightful and inherent spirituality, and make them be a different part of a different culture, a different group. That's an act of genocide. So now I'm going to quickly transition into, you look on my face right now, does it look like I'm going through genocide? Like, am I being attacked physically? Not right now in the moment. But literally, right now, my very existence as a Yurok person is under attack in the form of cultural genocide. The example I'm going to use is the purposeful, intentional allocation and theft of water from our Northern California rivers and forcing it down into Southern California. In 2002, on the Klamath River in ancestral Yurok territory, there was an unprecedented fish kill where over 60,000 salmon, spawning salmon, washed up on either side of the Klamath River up to all through Yurok ancestral territory. I had a cousin who, bless his soul, was a fisheries biologist at the time, a fish tech. And more than that, he was my cousin. He was like my spiritual match in some of our ceremonies that we do when we create balance for the world, harmony for the world, and we pray for our families and our communities in very, very sophisticated, complex, and purposeful ways. We talked about this 2002 fish kill, and he had to help clean up all these dead fish and mark them and tag them and then go throw them away. And it broke his heart because our people are intimately connected, spiritually connected, immemorially connected. That means before memory, beyond memory. We're connected to the salmon, the nepui. It's what we eat. It's part of our culture. So if there is another outside Euro immigrant culture that is now here, has come here, and they're new here, and they start making decisions about the land and the elements, like denying fire, cultural burns, stealing water, damming up the rivers, shackling the freedom of a river, and exporting the water to other people and other worldviews, other cultures that that's okay to do in that culture, I guess. It broke his heart cleaning up these fish, because there are people, there are families, 60,000 of them. The decision makers who diverted the water are trying to do it again right now. They were warned in 2002 by fisheries biologists, fish techs, the Hupa tribe, the Karuk tribe, the Yurok tribe, and numerous non-government organizations all attested that if they don't release more water down the Klamath River for the fish, there will be a fish kill, a mass kill. And we all knew that was going to happen. And there was deliberate decision making that said, we don't care. We are going to divert the water. We don't believe your science. We don't believe the native communities who are telling us, hey, this is going to impact us. This is, if it happens on your watch, you can't walk away from the accountability of it. But they didn't listen. Put water into irrigation in the Upper Klamath Basin instead of letting it flow free to the indigenous communities who are first in time, first in right. They didn't get that right by the United States government, and a fish kill happened. Now, my cousin said he could not get, what does genocide smell like? It smells like rotten fish that you can't get out of your nose for months. How does it taste like? It tastes like rotten fish, salmon, that you can't get out of your mouth no matter what else you eat. For months, you're tasting that fish and you're reliving that experience. That emotional impact on my cousin, my poor old cousin, he said he had nightmares for the rest of his life. Like, I talked to him not long before he passed, and he told me about these nightmares. He told me about his mental anguish and how, you know, it hurt him, and he carried that with him forever. And so talking about this is really hard. I get emotional. But right now, Pacific Corp, Warren Buffett, they've already accepted money in a legal agreement for dam removal by 2020. It's 2020. What are they doing right now? Are they planning to remove the dams? No, they're trying to relicense the dams again. And they're going to use this argument that we're not trying to intentionally hurt your culture by killing all your fish, by keeping water away from the people who have always been in relationship with this water in this place since before time was time. They're trying right now. So there's cultural appropriation and genocide happening right now. As an interpreter for California state parks, it is an honor to try to drive discussions to foster better stewards and protectors of water, protectors of earth, protectors of fire, and reestablish our ancient responsibility as indigenous people of our places to uphold the laws that Creator put for us to abide by, which means you answer to the world. You don't dictate to the world. You don't get to exploit the world. That's a imported society worldview that needs it needs help, it needs healing, it needs to be taught different, or we won't be good stewards of the land. So that's my spiel on genocide and how it happens right now. It has been defined by the United Nations. You can look it up. There's some more activity if you are interested in learning more or wanting to help. The Humboldt State University's Native American Studies just did a water symposium on YouTube on October 30th. You can find it there. It was a great discussion and presentations on tribal water issues, current issues. You can look up the SaveCaliforniaSalmon.org. Salmon are not just an indigenous Native American food source. It's a spiritual being that is part of our community. So if you do hurt the salmon, you are hurting our culture. Deliberately, intentionally, or not. What you do to the river affects the river people. I'm going to look on the responses here, see if there's any questions. See. Thank you for your input. I see North Carolina. Hey, good to see you guys. So if there's no any like pressing questions on genocide, I feel this discussion is too short. 15 minutes is not enough time to really get into it, but I can't not touch on it. Because there are current issues happening right now that are affecting my heritage, my spirituality, my right to be who my people always have been and are always going to be in this place, Sumek Village. You know, my gram passed in 2001, the year before the fish kill. And I've talked with my brother a little bit about how we're almost happy she didn't see that fish kill in 2002, because it would have broke her heart. Like, it's unthinkable in our culture to treat the world in that way, to the point where you're altering other spiritual entities' well-being, their existence, their life, their rights. It's absolutely against the Yurok culture to do that. And that's one of the reasons why we had such a sophisticated, advanced civilization historically, because we were able to live in harmony and sustainably in relationship with our places for over 10,000 years that they can date us. We say since time immemorial, but they've carbon dated our fireplaces to 10,000 years or more. So we can do it. We just need to allow the indigenous people their rightful place of power and decision making in society, in the civic arena, and in places like state parks, national parks, and other conservation entities, stewardship. Stewardship builders. So I'm gonna go now, and I'll talk a little bit more about patterns of genocide next week, and how this didn't just happen to Yurok people. It happened, with like the buffalo and horses and sheep, and it happened to the Atlantic salmon. So there's a lot of pain that hopefully this discussion can help surface and heal, because we don't want to stand in this pillar of pain. We don't want to be kept as Native people on this as a display item in perpetual pain. It's like, we understand how bad we were treated. We know that. We lived it. My dad's dad went to a boarding school, was removed from his family, had his hair cut, got slapped for speaking Indian, and worse. So it's alive and well, unfortunately. But fortunately, so is the opportunity to talk about it and heal from history, so that we don't continue down this hurtful path. We don't stay in this place of pain in the eyes of the world, because we're not. We are survivors. We're beautiful. Highly, highly sophisticated natural resource management systems in our culture, in our worldview, in our songs, in our spirituality, that this earth and all of its people, Ha'alet Mani, they say, the ones walking around here, all of them, humans, insects, we all depend on this knowledge to come back and righteously be upheld in society. Okay, now I'm going to end. I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Takiken the Newachek. I'll see you again.